Hello and welcome to my ever messy work area. So today, as you can see, I have a color card out, and this is from that color cube. So the one that's by Sarah, my bad, I always forget what her name is and I always feel really bad. But I do have the color cube by Sarah Renee Clark, and this is card number 210, which I pre-drew beforehand. And today what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something that I find a little daunting. So I have this really awesome watercolor book called Painting Calm. I've had it for a while now, and it's by Inga Bulvadice. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And we're actually gonna do what's on the cover here. So she does have instructions for how to do that in here. And I've always thought that it was really beautiful, but I've been afraid to try it. And I started watching a channel called Little Amy Arts, and she did it and made it look so easy. Now, will it actually be that easy? I don't know. But I do want to try it out. So thank you for joining me with it. This will either go really well or we'll make something fun anyway. So we're gonna try it out. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so, or you can click that thumbs up and give me a like. I would really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so what I've done is, like I said, I pre-selected this card and I went ahead and got out my Paul Rubens because I love my Paul Rubens. So, and I pre-selected some colors. So I went with yellow green, Hooker's Green Brilliant, emerald green, sea blue, and violet. And unlike some of my other ones in here, I did go ahead and swatch it. So this is my watercolor journal that you guys saw me whenever I made the cover. So far I don't have a terrible amount of things in here, but I do want to start practicing watercolor more because it seems like whenever I go to do things, I tend to grab for my watercolors now. And so I've been really trying to practice to get better at them, because I just really have enjoyed them. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and put this over here like this so I don't get this other side wet, because eventually this will have something on the other side too. But we can go ahead and get started. So on here, in the book it says, using a compass or a medium-sized bowl, draw a circle on a paper with a pencil, and then start painting first leaves close but not exactly to the center. Add more leaves following the circle, varying in color and tone by adding different amounts in the water. So that is what I am going to start doing. And to do my circle, I would just use an object around your house. Like I used a sewing circle and put it on here, drew my circle, it was perfect. Usually sewing circles come in multiple sizes, so you know, no matter what size your paper is, you're gonna have a circle for it. So that's what I use to get a circle that big that's still perfectly round. And then the other thing that's gonna be different about this is normally I like sketch out what I'm doing, but with this exercise, it seems like you just kind of start painting. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I think I'm gonna start with the blue first and then just kind of go from there. And I'm gonna try using my size 7 watercolor brush and see how that goes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get that wet. And then it looks like these are just a stem and a leaf. I'm gonna try to get my leaves as leafy shaped as I can. But I guess if some of them are a bit oblong, then that's okay, because real leaves would be a bit oblong too, I guess. And I'm gonna do another one. Like that. This has been my prime worry of getting them small enough. So I'm glad that this is going okay so far. So we've got those. And then I'm going to go ahead and rinse off. and try the next color. So the next color I've got is violet. Violet's turning violet. I know I say that all the time, but that's just the first thing that comes to my head whenever I think of that. So I'm gonna do a little stem. One of the things that really drew me to this one was how the colors kind of morph into each other. So I'm really excited to see that in play. Here we go. And then the next color I'm going to use is, let's do the Hooker's Green and see what happens. So I'm going to try that out. Get her a little wet here. These leaves are actually kind of fun to make. I've never drawn that thin of a line before with a watercolor brush, so it's pretty fun. I'm gonna give this one two little leaves. There we go. And then next I'm going to, let's do the emerald green and see what happens. Like that. And then we can get some yellow green in there. Maybe for this one we can try an overlapping one. Oh, I'm so scared. So I'm just gonna go right over it. Didn't quite do what I thought it would do, but that's okay. It's an overlapping leaf. We're not mad at it. So let's go over here with it. And it looks like I contaminated that a little bit. So let's do the green. Add some more emerald green in there, and then we can go back to the blue here in a second. And for this emerald green, I'm just gonna go right like that. Ooh, that was cool. Did you see that? Like as soon as I touched it. Here, let's do this. Since this is so small, I'm gonna zoom in quite a bit. Camera over a little bit. That way you can really see what I'm seeing. There we go. Something like that. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with that blue again. And this is sea blue. Just a real thin line and then a big old leaf. Like that. Over here. violet back in there. So let's do that right here. Get one right there. Maybe we're just gonna start seeing some leaves just kind of pop in wherever they want. Like that. And then get some of this green again. I'm just gonna keep going until I reach the edge on both sides here. There we go, that looks pretty good. And maybe we can do another green one over here somewhere, or maybe even down here. Just like that. That looks nice. One thing I'm noticing is that there's too many of them that are the same color next to each other. So what I'll probably try to do is just kind of make it more random, just because I think I would like that better. So let's get some emerald here. Let's do see some more of that blue too. That blue is very bold, so we don't want it to get lost, because then we're going to lose our boldness, and we don't want that. Whoa. We don't necessarily want it to take over either, though. Maybe some purple again. We're just gonna keep going like that. What I might do here is I might experiment with putting a little bit of music here while I have this going in real time, because I probably won't have a lot to say while I'm concentrating on this, because these are such small lines. So enjoy, and if I talk again, I will let you know. So I'm going to pause for a second and just talk about a couple of things while doing this piece I think would be really helpful. One, be careful where your hands are. There's been a couple of times already, like here, where I accidentally smeared them with the palm of my hand, which I am definitely a person who accidentally does that. The other thing is when you're dipping your brush, you want these little stems to be small. So be careful, or maybe like use a different surface to kind of wipe off your brush a little bit. Because if it's too loaded with water, you might get a big giant drip, which I've also done as I've been working on this. So I'll go ahead and turn back on the music at this point, but I wanted to mention those two things because those are two things that I've been noticing as I'm painting. So right here is about where I decided that I kept dipping my hand in there, so I just needed to turn it. So I was trying to keep it all the same direction for the video, and it just wasn't working for me. So many interruptions. What you don't realize is by now I have gotten up and down probably 7 or 8 times between letting the dog out, eating dinner, and other things. Ideally, whenever you do this piece, it'd probably be best to do it all in one sitting. That way you can get those nice blooms. But for me, I'm doing it a little bit of both, and I'm just gonna accept it as it is. Okay, so now it's time to flip it back over. So you see it from the front. Now, a couple of things that I would say that I definitely need to work on is the size of the leaves. Yes, no leaf is the same size, but also I was just getting them a little bit of everywhere. Like some of them are not even really leaf looking. So I think that's something that I could definitely improve on, which is nice to see. And then the other thing is throughout the whole thing, I accidentally kept putting my hand in there, and then I started going slower because I thought maybe that would work. But that actually just made me have dry spots to where it didn't quite mold into each other like how I wanted. So I would definitely say that this is a great way to practice water control, because I think that was my biggest problem here, is that I am just not good at water control yet. And it's because I'm new at this. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, it's something I need to work on, and I think that I'm doing a pretty good job. Like, I feel like doing this exercise really helped. I'm trying to get rid of this white spot and I don't think it's working. Nope, it's just turning more blue. Yikes. Okay. Well, maybe we can turn it into a smiley face later. Because I'm not really sure what to do about that little white spot. So I'm just gonna leave that one alone for a second until it dries, and then I'll try to paint some white over it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get out my heat gun and I'm gonna dry this real quick. Try and see, now that this is dry, if this can work. Yes, there we go. That was the problem, it wasn't dry enough. That looks much better. I can deal with a whitish blue smudge, but that light blue smudge was gonna give me anxiety because I really want this to look nice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my white Posca, and on the darker leaves I'm going to start making little marks. So I'm just going to make like little whoops. Whoop. Might actually look better like that. But I'm going to go with the blue ones first just because they're very richly deep. And I might do the purple and the dark blue as well. Just to kind of give some life to these, hopefully. And like I said, I've never done this before. Could be a terrible mistake. But I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. Right now it's not looking too bad. It's giving it some life. And I might go with a black Posca on some of those lighter ones, just to give it some contrast in there. I'm not really decided. I'm just gonna go through and make my little white lines. It might have been better to actually go into this with like a gel pen or something thinner. But that's okay. I'm not really worried about it. And they are going all every which way. So I'm gonna try not to miss any, but if I do, we'll just say that it was an artistic decision. And what I think I'm gonna do is on this side, I'm actually gonna leave it blank until I'm done with this journal. And then what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll try again, but maybe with a different color pattern. and see what happens. I think that could be fun, even if it ends up, because I've been working on this quite fast, like even if it only takes like a month or so for me to get through this, surely I would have improved in a month. So I'm still gonna try it anyway, just to see what happens. I think that could be fun, but I do definitely think that this is very pretty how it turned out. Like, I'm not mad whatsoever at it. Just gonna go quickly in here. Oh no, I'm getting overwhelmed. My eyeballs are overwhelmed. I can't tell where I've been and where I haven't. Oh no. I don't see any that look like I missed over there, so we'll go over here. You know what, maybe I'll do it to all except for these really light green ones. That could be interesting. I'll just say those are the special ones that don't need it. Doot. I'm gonna start dooting. Doot. We're getting there. Oh no, I accidentally did one of them. That's okay. I think maybe next time I might go with less colors too. Maybe 3 colors would be a little less overwhelming. Not really sure though. Let's see, am I missing any? Oh, there's one. I'm just kind of giving it a glance over because there's so many things to look at here. Okay, I think that looks okay. And then I think I'm not gonna put anything else on there. What I do want to do though is I want to go through and try to erase the pencil line that's behind it, but let's dry first. That way we don't accidentally mess anything up. Might even do next time is next time I make those lines, maybe I'll use those liners that disappear with heat. I do have some of those after I saw Devin Rex for Arts use them, Yolande. Like when I saw her use those, I was like, need those, and I did get them. So I could maybe even do that next time too, and that could be a good thing to try. But yeah, I think I am gonna try to go around that and try to erase some of those lines in there and see what happens. Some of them aren't gonna erase, but that's okay. That's why next time I think I'll use those other pens. And I'm just going around. Erase. Okay. And then what I think I'll also do is I'm gonna date this one. So today is the 20th. That way, whenever I do go back and do this a second time over here on this side, I'll be able to see how I improved. And I think that'll be pretty good. So let me back out a little bit so you can see the full page. There we go. And this is what it turned out like. So if you stuck with me this far, thank you so much. Give me a like. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I would love to see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.